Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be continuing our project playlist, and today we're going to have a simpler project as compared to the previous weather application and the currency converter. That is because we won't be using the requests library. We're going to be building a simple body mass index calculator, a BMI calculator that's going to calculate our BMI, and it's going to tell us whether we're underweight, overweight, or normal weight. So let's just get started. We're going to create a new file. We're going to call it bmi.py, and in this file we need to get our plan ready. So what information do we need from the user? So for information's sake, we are going to take the user's name. We're also going to take their height. We're going to take their weight. So the height and the weight are going to directly be used to calculate their BMI. And again, for information's sake, we're going to also take in their age. So this is just a series of input statements. So let's get started. So let's start with the name. So the name is going to be an input, and we're going to prompt them to enter your name. The next information we need is their age, which is also going to be an input, and we're going to ask them to enter your age. Here again, we need to do a little bit of a modification to the input. That is because age is a number, so we need to cast it to a number since the default return type for an input is a string. So we need to cast it to an integer because age is an integer number. So we need to cast it to an int. So that is going to deal with our age. The next input we're going to take is going to be their weight. So we're going to input. We're going to ask them to enter your weight. So in our case, we want the weight to be in kilograms. So we're just going to put kg. And finally, we want their height. So we're going to have a height variable. We're going to set it to input. So we're going to prompt them to enter their height, which we'll be accepting in meters. And finally, we need to convert the types of weight and height. So our weight is going to be a floating number because it's going to also have decimals. So we're going to cast it to float. Again, our height is also going to be a float because it's going to contain decimal numbers. So we're going to also cast it to float. And now we have all the information that we need from the user. So now we can go ahead and start calculating their BMI. So we're going to create a variable called BMI, and we're going to set it equal to the formula of BMI, which is weight divided by height square. So what we need to do is we're going to input weight from the user, and we're going to divide it by height square. So this is, I think, the first time we're seeing it on the channel. So to square a variable or to square a number, we're going to use double asterisk. So it's going to be 2 asterisks and 2. This means get the height and square it. We put in the brackets so the precedence won't be messed up. So first we're going to have the weight, and we're going to divide it to the height square. So this is going to give us the BMI of the user. And once we have this value, we're going to tell the user if they're underweight, normal weight, or overweight. So we're going to use a series of if statements. So the first if statement is going to check if our BMI is less than or equals to 18.5. So it's going to be if BMI is less than or equals to 18.5, in which case we're going to print out the text, you are underweight. And we've seen this syntax before, which is an else if statement. That means it's an else, but it has its own condition. So the syntax is elif followed by the condition. In this case, it's going to be when the BMI is between 18.5 and 25. So we're going to say it's going to be greater than or equals to 18.5, and it's going to be less than 25. So it's in between those two values, in which case we're going to print you are normal weight. And we're going to have another else if statement, which is going to be concerned with the values between 25 and 30. So we're going to have 25 less than or equals to BMI less than 30. In this case, we're going to print out you are overweight. And finally, we have one last category, which is going to be greater than 30. So we can just use an else statement because that's the only possibility left. So we're going to use an else statement and we're going to print out you are obese. So these are the if statements that are going to calculate what you are based on your BMI. So we can save our file and we're going to run it using the Python 3 command, followed by the name of our file, which is bmi.py. It asks us for our name. I'm going to put in Abel Gedio. Age, I'm going to put in 19. Weight, I'm going to put in 70. Height, I'm going to put in, it says in meters, so I'm going to put in 1.71. And it prints you are normal weight. But in our case, we want to show them their BMI. So before we say you are normal weight, we're going to print out the BMI. So we're going to go back to our code, and underneath our BMI formula, we're going to print a formatted string that says your BMI is followed by whatever we got in the BMI variable. So we're going to run our program again, put in our name, our age, our weight, and finally our height. And it prints out your BMI is 23.938. As you can see, this is very long. So we want to round down our BMI to just 2 decimal places. So here we're going to go to our BMI. Then we're going to use a function, a built-in function in Python, which is called round, which takes in 2 numbers. The first is going to be the variable that we want to round, and the second is going to be to how many decimal places that we want to round. In our case, we want it to be rounded to 2 decimal places, so we're going to put in 2, and we're going to close our bracket, and we're going to save our file again, and we're going to run it for the final time, I hope. So we're going to run it again, put in our name, we're going to put in our age, then our weight, then our height. As you can see, it prints out your BMI is 23.94, so it's been rounded, and it also prints out what you are based on your BMI. So this is a very simple project that calculates the BMI of a user. So thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more programming videos.